Good morning. Today we are going to discuss from Module 3 onwards of EST 100 Engineering Mechanics December 2020 examination. Module 1 and 2 as well as Part A described in the previous videos. So question number 15 of Module 3, the question is find the centroid of the shaded area. So shaded area in this figure is this one. This is the shaded area. Okay, this area. This entire area is shaded area. So before starting answering, we have to find out that, or we have to understand that this shaded area is nothing but from a rectangle, from this large rectangle, 200 by 140, a triangle here, 2, a rectangle here, 3, and a circle here, 4. So 3 figures, 2, 3, 4 are removed from one large rectangle, 1. Figure 1, from figure 1, we have removing 2, 3, and 4. So the expression for center of gravity, x bar will be a1 x1 minus a2 x2 minus a3 x3 divided by minus a4 x4 divided by a1 minus a2 minus a3 minus a4. Or generally you will write sigma ax by sigma a. Let us see how to do this example. I'm splitting up it into different shapes. I'll remove all these shaded lines. It was there in the picture but not visible. Okay. So consider first area. For that we prepare a table form like this. Number, portion, rectangle. The rectangle of size 200 by 140. I have got the area. Now for the x bar distance, I am taking this as a reference line. The leftmost line as the reference for x bar and the bottommost line is the reference for y bar. Now for the first rectangle, x bar distance from here to the center of gravity of rectangle. Center of gravity of rectangle from here it is 200 by 200. Okay. Now I'll first come to x, then we'll go to y. Then second area, this triangle. For this triangle, the area is half 30 into 80. Half base into altitude. It is a negative area. It is deducted. So minus, I have put it here, minus. Center of gravity of this area from this line, the centroid of this triangle is at a height of, this is the centroid. This centroid is at 1/3 30. 1/3 h from the base. So 1/3 of 30. Okay. It is, the centroid is 1/3 30. So 10. Next, this rectangle. Centroid of this rectangle, the centroid of this rectangle is at a distance of 20 from here. From this line, it is 20. So here to here, it will be 200 minus 20. This much is 20. Okay, or it is totally 200 minus 20. It's 180. Now coming to this circle, the area of the circle is pi d square or pi r square. Pi d square by 4 if diameter is given. Since radius is given, it is pi r square. So this is pi r square. That is also negative area. Distance to the centroid. This is the centroid. Distance from here to here, it is 200 by 2. It is placed at the center of this rectangle. So it is 200 by 200. So we have got first area is positive. Its x distance. Second area, third area, and fourth area are minus. So I have put area negative. So sigma A is 28,000 minus 1,200 minus 2,400 minus 7,850 will get sigma A. Do AX, A into X, A into X. So you have got this column. Find out sigma AX, 28 lakh is positive, all other terms are negative. So this added together, algebraic sum, you will get AX. So x bar is equal to sigma ax divided by sigma a, will get 94.92 millimeter. Now coming to y bar, this is the reference. Area we have already computed. Y is with reference to this line, distance to the center of gravity of each of the section. So first one is a rectangle, 200 by 140. Its center of gravity is located at 140 by 2. At center, 140 by 2. Okay. For the triangle, for this triangle, its center of gravity, this is the center of gravity, it is located at from this base Up to this, it will be h by 3. This is 80. So totally it is 80. So it will be 80 by 3. So from here to here, it will be 140 minus 80 by 3. This is 80 by 3. Okay. So the remaining distance will be 140 minus 80 by 3. 140 minus 80 by 3. For this rectangle, from here, it is 30 millimeter, 60 by 2. This is 30. So 140 minus 30. 140 minus 30. For this circle, the center of the circle is located at a distance of 70 mm from the bottom. It is given in the question. The center is 70 mm. So y for the circle is 70. So similarly as earlier, do a into y, a into y, a into y. Then take sigma ay. So y bar will be sigma ay by a, 61.06 mm. So the center of gravity axis is 94.92 mm from the left end and 61.06 mm from the bottommost line. Okay, this is a 14 mark question, very simple one. Moving on to question number 16. I'll read the question. Find the resultant of the force system shown in figure, in which P is equal to 280 Newton, Q is equal to 260 Newton, and R is equal to 210 Newton. This is the figure given. So here there is a point A and force P. Force P is directed along this line AC. And another force Q, it is directed along this line AB. And next force R, it is directed along this line AD. So this is the x-axis, this is z-axis, this is z-axis, Z I have written here, and this is y-axis. So there are A, B, C, D. O is the origin. First thing is we have to find the coordinates of all these points with respect to the origin. So point O, that is in the x-axis, that is also in the y-axis, which is z-axis. So this point O is the origin, its coordinate are 0, 0, 0. Point A, this point A is what in the y-axis? It lies in the y-axis. So its x-coordinate is 0, z-coordinate is 0, only y-coordinate, it is 12 meter. Okay, so point A is 0, y-coordinate 12, z is equal to 0. I'll slightly enlarge this figure. Okay, it is slightly enlarged now. So point A is 12 meter from O. So it is 0, 12, 0. Point B, this is point B. From the origin, it is 4 meter along the x-axis towards left. Then along the z-axis, it is 3 meter. Along the x-axis, you move 4 meter towards left. And along the z-axis, you move 3 meter towards the negative side. So this is the positive z-axis. So this is the negative side of z-axis. So the coordinate of point B is x-coordinate minus 4, okay, y-coordinate 0, and z-coordinate minus 3. For the point C now, it is in the same line. That is, along x-axis, it is at 4 meter. It is 4 meter up to this. Then along the positive direction of z-axis, it is 6 meter. So the coordinates are minus 4, y 0, z 6. Point D, this is point D. From O, 6 meter in the positive x direction. Then in the positive z direction, 4 meter. So it is 6, 0, 4. So this is how you find out the coordinates of all the points. Okay, these are required for finding out the position vector. So let us find out the numerical values of forces are given. 280, 260, 210. This is a three-dimensional force system. So everything should be represented in vector notation. So we have to find out what is the vector representation of this force P. For that, we require unit vector in the direction AC. P acts in direction AC. So first of all, let us find out the unit vector in direction AC. Direction AC. So we have to write C minus A. So the coordinate of C is here, coordinate of A is here. I'll remove all other things. Take these two. Unit vector in direction AC is C minus A. So coordinate of C, minus 4 minus 0, I, 0 minus 12, J, 6 minus 0, K. So the position vector is, this is the position vector. Unit vector is divided by 4 square, 12 square, 6 square. So the position vector or the unit vector lambda AC is obtained as minus 4i minus 12j plus 6k divided by 4 square plus 12 square plus 6 square. It is 14. It will be there. Next, we have to find out the unit vector in the direction AB. Unit vector in the direction AB. For that, unit vector in direction AB, A, let it be there. We can remove B, C, A and B. Consider A and B. So unit vector in direction AB will be B minus A. Minus 4 minus 0, I, 0 minus 12j, minus 3 minus 0k. So this is minus 4i minus 12j minus 3k divided by 4 square plus 12 square plus 3 square. So we'll get this. Next, we have to get AD. Unit vector in direction AD for the third force. Lambda AD will be similarly D minus A. 6 minus 0, 0 minus 12, 4 minus 0. So 6i minus 12j by 4k divided by. So these are the three unit vectors in direction AC, AB and AD. Now the force vectors are nothing but force vector in direction AC will be magnitude of force into unit vector in the direction of AC. Magnitude of force P is given as 280. So 260, 210, so it is 280. So 280 multiplied with this unit vector. 280 into unit vector. Unit vector is 4i minus 12j plus 6k by 14. So this gets cancelled. 20, 20 into 4, 80, 20 into 12, 240, 20 into 6, 120k. So we'll get the force vector AC. Similarly, get force vector AB. Numerical value of the force Q is 260. 260 by 260, this into this lambda AB. So you'll get that force vector. Similarly, force vector in AD, direction AD will be magnitude R 210 into this unit vector. So we'll get all the three force vectors have been obtained. Now the resultant force is nothing but algebraic sum of all these vectors. The resultant vector is force vector AC plus force vector AD plus AD. You algebraically add the vectors. So all I terms add together, minus 80, minus 80, 160 plus 90. So it will be minus 70I. Minus 240, minus 240, minus 480, minus 180, 660J. 120 minus 60 plus 60. So it will be 120K. This is the resultant vector. Okay. If you want the magnitude of the resultant, you take root of 70 square plus 660 square plus 120 square. Taking it, we'll get the magnitude of the result. So this is the magnitude of the resultant. If you read the direction of the resultant, that is called the direction cosines. Cos theta, the angle which the resultant makes with the x direction, that is cos theta, is given by sigma fx divided by the value of the resultant. Sigma fx, this is the resultant force. This is nothing but sigma fxi, sigma fyj, sigma fzk. This term, the first term, fx 70 divided by the value of r, 674.746. 70 by 674.46 will be cos theta x. So we'll get theta x, the angle which the resultant makes with x direction. Similarly, cos theta y, the angle which the resultant makes with y direction, is also called direction cosine m. That can be obtained as the second force, second value fy, that is minus 660. Minus 660 by 674.46, so we'll get theta y. And the third one, this is 120. 120 by 674.46, it will be. So you have got the magnitude of the resultant as well as its directions with x, y, z directions. Now we can check if you find out cos theta x, do this calculation, you get the value. Do this calculation, you get the value. Similarly here, this L square plus M square plus N square is equal to 1. That's a check on your answer. Okay, this is a 14-mark question. Next, I am passing on to dynamics, module 4, 17. carrying 14 marks. Determine the tension in the inextensible string and the acceleration of the masses. Consider the pulley as massless and coefficient of friction 0.2. Block A is 200 kilogram and block B 100 kilogram. It is also a repeatedly asked university question. In the previous question papers are also there. Some changes in the numerical values only. So this is the system shown in the figure. Here there is a pulley. To this a mass is attached. B is the block attached to this pulley and it is connected by a string which goes through the pulley. Other end of the rope is or the string is attached to another mass A. The weight of A is 200, weight of B is the masses are given. So weight will be 200 into 9.8. So these are the masses. M. Weight will be that into 9.8 Newton. So let us first of all, in order to analyze it, we have to consider A and B separately. So when the mass A, it is given here, when the weight A moves down by unit distance, the weight B moves up by half the distance. So when suppose this is subjected to a movement of 1 millimeter or 1 centimeter along this direction, this rope gets stretched or this gets moved by 1 millimeter so that the two sides the ropes has to adjust for that. So the total movement for this block will be only half of this. Since there are two ropes attached to it, the amount by which it gets lifted up will be only half of A. So but that we get at a conclusion. If we write acceleration of block A as small a, acceleration of block will be only half of that, A by 2. This is the most important step in this figure, in this question. If you go wrong in this, the entire problem goes wrong. As A moves down by unit distance, block B gets moved up by only half of that. So the accelerations are written here. Now consider each one separately. Consider block A. Consider block A, it moves down. Direction of motion is downward. What are the forces acting on it? It's self-weight acting downwards. The self-weight can be resolved into two components. The self-weight is acting in this direction, W. This angle, which is, this is theta. So along this, normal to this line, the component will be W cos theta. And along this, the component will be W sin theta. So the self-weight has two components, W cos theta and W sin theta. So the normal reaction will be acting perpendicular to this plane. Since it is moving downward, there will be frictional force. Frictional force will be acting along the upward direction. Frictional force is nothing but mu r. Frictional forces mu times r. Now looking into this, r is equal to W cos theta, isn't it? This is r is equal to W cos theta. So the frictional forces mu r or mu W cos theta. Now tension in the string, it will be acting like this. So this is the tension in the string acting. So the actual forces are W sin theta downwards along the plane, W cos theta normal to the plane acting downwards, and normal reaction acting upwards. This can be utilized to find out R is equal to W cos theta. Then the mu W cos theta or mu R acting along the plane upwards, tension in the string acting upwards. Together with these forces, I am applying an inertia force, 200 into A, mass into acceleration is the inertia force that is applied opposite to the direction of motion. So 200 into A, mass into acceleration applied opposite to the direction of motion so that this system is in equilibrium. Apply 200A inertia force opposite to the direction of motion. Now write down the equation of equilibrium along the, now the system is brought to dynamic equilibrium. Write down the equation along the plane. Along the plane, the force acting here is T, upward direction, mu R, upward direction, 200A upward direction. The only force is W sin theta downward. So T plus 200A plus mu W. W is weight, 200 into 9.8 cos 40 minus W sin theta. Mu W sin theta is equal to 0. You'll get one equation. From that, you substitute this cos 40, sin 40, etc. You will get an equation. T plus 200A is equal to first equation. Now consider the motion of B. This one, consider this mass. So there will be tension in this rope in both these sides. Since the pulley is smooth, these are so smooth, there will be tension in these strings will be the same. This is moving up. Direction of motion is upward. So this is the direction of motion is upward. Tension in the two strings acting. Self-weight, W into mass into acceleration, acceleration due to gravity, 9m into g. Self-weight acting downwards. Since the direction is upward, you apply an inertia force opposite to the direction of motion, mass into acceleration. It's very important. The acceleration of this mass is only a by 2. So this is mass into acceleration. Acceleration is only half the value. Now write down the equation considering this vertical line. In the vertical direction, t plus t, 2t, minus 100 into a by 2, minus 100 into 9.8 is equal to 0. From that, we get 2t minus 50a is equal to one equation. There is one equation. Solve between 1 and 2, and we get acceleration of a, small a is 2.09. So the tension in the spring, you can substitute in any of these equations. Substitute in the first equation, or get the tension in the spring as 541.57. So the answers are, for block A, the acceleration is 2.09. For block B, it is half of that, 1.045, and tension in the spring is 541.57. So it's a 14-mark question. This is repeatedly asked in more than 1 or 2 university examinations of previous batches. So the same thing repeated here also. Now moving on to question number 18. Question 18a. A glass ball is dropped onto a smooth horizontal floor from which it bounces to a height of 9 meters. On the second bounce, it rises to a height of 6 meters. From what height the ball was dropped? And what is the coefficient of restitution between the glass and the floor? So in this question, a ball is dropped from some height. I don't know, I marked it as H. After hitting the floor, it bounces back to 9 meter height. Again, it comes and hits the floor and bounces back to 6 meter. These are the two values given to you. You are asked to find out H is equal to what? From what height it is dropped. So we have very common equation, that is the rebound height, the height of rebounds. This H2 will be E square times H1. This is H, from the height H1, if it is dropped, the height to which rebounds will be E square times H1, where E is called the coefficient of restitution between the floor and the mass. So based on this, the 6 is equal to E square times 9. From that, we get E is equal to coefficient of restitution. First answer is obtained here. Now coming to this, H1, the height to which it rebounds, H1 will be E square times H. E square times H. E is already got here. So H will be H1 by E square. H1 we have got, H1 is 9 by E square. So we'll get the height from which it is dropped is 13.52 meter. So very simple example, 5 meter. 5 marks question. Passing on to question 18b. I'll read the question. Two cars, A and B, traveling in the same direction, get stopped at a traffic signal. When signal turns green, car A accelerates at 0.75 meter per second square, and 1.75 seconds later, car B starts and accelerates at 1.1 meter per second square. Determine when and where B will overtake A and the speed of each car at that time. This is a very simple example which you have done in your +2 classes itself. Say there are two cars and B overtakes A. When the two cars overtake, one overtakes the other, means the distance traveled by both are the same. Okay, a car is overtaking the other means up to that particular point where it is overtaking, the distance traveled by both are same. Make use of that. Car distance traveled by car A, ut plus half at square. It is stopped at the signal. So it starts with an initial velocity 0. So u is equal to 0. So ut plus half at square, it is only half at square. Distance traveled by car A is half A. The acceleration is given 0.75 half at square. The second car B starts 1.75 seconds later. So if car A takes t time, the car B travels only for t minus 1.75 seconds. So distance traveled by B will be half A, its acceleration is given 1.1. It travels for t minus 1.75 seconds. So half A t square, the distance traveled by car B. Both these are same. At the point of overtaking, these two are same. So equate half 0.75 t square is equal to half 1.1 t minus 1.75 square. Simplifying it, you'll get t is equal to 10.06 seconds. That means at the time after A starts, the two cars will meet at 10.06 seconds from the instant A leaves the traffic signal. So the distance traveled by when they meet, what is the distance travel? Half 0.75 t square, half 0.75 into put this time, we'll get 37 point or 38 meters. So we can check it with reference to B. The distance traveled by B is equal to half 1.1 t minus 1.75. So how much time B has traveled? B has traveled only for 10.06 minus 1.75, 8.31 seconds, the time of travel of B. Based on B, the distance is equal to half 1.1 into 8.31 square. So it is 37.98. Both are same. So it's only a check. Okay. Now we are asked to find out the velocity. The velocity at that time, V is equal to U plus AT. It starts from 0, A into T. A for the first car, 0.75. The time of travel is 10.06. So this is the speed of car A. For car B, 1.1 was the acceleration. Time of travel was only 8.31. The time of travel of B is 8.31. So that will give you the velocity of B. This is a 9-mark question. Now moving on to module 5, question number 19. A circular disc of radius r is equal to 30 centimeter and weight 145 Newton is free to rotate about its geometric axis. A flexible cord carrying a weight Q, 45 Newton, is wound around the circumference of the disc as shown in figure. If the weight Q is released from rest, find A, the time required for it to fall through the height 300 centimeter. B, with what velocity V will it strike the floor? So this question here, we are given a circular disc. Its weight is given. So we have to consider the rotation of this disc. Okay. And this is rotational motion for this disc. And this weight, it is linear motion. It moves down. The weight is given as 145. So let us see. If P is the tension in the cord, P, the tension in the cord, P into what? The torque. In order that the disc is rotating, there will be the torsional force or the twisting force or the torque acting on the disc will be force into distance, perpendicular distance, P into R. That is nothing but mass moment of inertia of the disc into angular acceleration. This we know. Torque is equal to I alpha, considering the rotary motion of the disc. And looking into the tension in the string, the torque in the disc is also same as P into R. So let us write P, the tension in the string is not known. Radius 0.3, 30 centimeters, so 0.3 meter. Moment of inertia of disc, mass moment of inertia is mr square by 2. And angular acceleration is linear acceleration A by R. So we'll get it as mRA by 2. So I have written here P into 0.3 is equal to mass 145 Newton weight. So 145 by 9.8. This is the mass. R, radius is 30 centimeter, 0.3. A by 2. So I got P is equal to 7.4A, one expression. So that is consider the rotary motion of the disc. The torque is equal to I alpha. And the linear motion of the string, the torque is equal to tension in the string into radius. Equating the two, we get an expression like this. Now consider the downward motion of this Q. Consider the linear motion of Q. Q is moving downward. This is the direction of motion. Self weight 45 kN acting downwards. Tension in the string P acting upwards. Now we apply mass into acceleration, inertia force. Inertia force is mass into acceleration. Mass is 45 by 9.8 into acceleration, opposite to the direction of motion. D'Alembert's principle. Now write down the equation of equilibrium. Writing the equation 4.5 by 9.8, 45 by 9.8a plus p minus 45 is equal to 0. Okay, from that p is already we have got here 7.4. We have substituted for p here. 45 by 9.8a minus 45 is equal to 0. From that we get the acceleration is equal to 3.75 meter per second square. So we have got the acceleration of the system. Now question is find the time required for the weight q to fall through a height of 300 centimeters. So the acceleration of this mass is 3.75. You have the equation h is equal to ut plus half at square. System starts from rest, so u0. The height through which it moves is 300, so 3 meter. 300 centimeter means 3 meter. Half a t square. This is a t square. From that we get t is equal to 1.26 seconds. Second part of the question is what is the velocity? Velocity which strikes the floor v is equal to u plus at. U is equal to 0. A we got here. Time we got here. This is a 14-mark question. Going on to question number 20a. A 50 Newton weight is suspended from a spring of constant K 8 Newton per centimeter. Neglecting the mass of the spring, find the period for small amplitudes of vertical oscillations. 5-mark questions, very simple one. So a spring is attached to a ceiling and there is a weight is attached to it. We're asked to find out the time period. So we have the expression for the angular frequency of vibration. This is set to vertical motion or vibration. Angular frequency of vibration omega is equal to root of k by m. There is only expression we have to remember. Omega equals root of k by m, where it is very important k should be substituted in Newton per meter. Question it is given as Newton per centimeter. So for Newton per meter means 8 into 100. Newton per meter. Weight is 50, so mass is 50 by 9.8 kilogram. So root of k by m, root of k 800, mass 50 by 9.8 will get the angular frequency. Once you get the angular frequency, we have period of oscillation. Time period t is equal to 2 pi by omega. That is, one rotation is 2 pi radians. If omega is the angular velocity, if t is the time taken for one rotation, time omega into t, that is equal to nothing but 2 pi radians. So from that, you can get t is equal to 2 pi by omega. So you'll get 0.5 seconds. Very simple one. Next question. This is also question number 20b. I'll read the question. A particle performing simple harmonic motion, when it is at a distance of 10 centimeter and 20 centimeter from the mean position, its velocities are 1.2 meter per second and 0.8 meter per second respectively. Find amplitude of oscillations, time period of oscillation, maximum velocity, maximum acceleration. This is also a repeated question which is done in previous university question papers. A simple harmonic motion, when the mass is at 10 centimeter, the particle is at 10 centimeter from the mean position, its velocity is given. At 20 centimeter, the velocity is given. The expression for velocity for a particle executing simple harmonic motion, V is equal to omega into root of r square minus x square, where r is the amplitude, x is the distance at any time. So we can substitute here 1.2 square is equal to omega square into r square minus 0.1 square. Here it is meter per second, so I have converted this centimeter auto to meter. Okay, here 0.8, so 0.8 square is equal to omega square into r square minus x square. Two expressions are there. There are two unknowns, so 1 by 2. You get an expression for omega, omega gets cancelled, so we'll get r is equal to the amplitude. Once you get the amplitude r, you can substitute in any of this equation. Substitute in this first equation, you can get omega. So from 1, we can get to omega is equal to 1.2 divided by, or v is equal to omega root of r square. From this equation, you can get omega. You'll get the angular frequency. Okay. Now, the first part of the question is what is amplitude? That is obtained r. Now we have got the angular frequency 5.24 radians per second. So the period of oscillation as done in the previous example, t is equal to 2 pi by omega. 2 pi by this, so we'll get the period of oscillation. And third part of the question, what is the maximum velocity? V is equal to r omega. R is obtained, omega is obtained, so it's r omega. Acceleration is omega square r. Omega squared r. So this is 9 marks question. It's also a very simple example. Okay. Thank you all for the patient sharing.